Now then, people, it's Joe. It's All Leeds TV. It's time for your live player ratings. I hope you're all doing well and can now calm down after finally getting the 3 points and coming away with a win after 3 losses on the trot. No goals scored. It's just good to get a win. As you can see, I've got some guests with me. Oscar can't do tonight, so I put the feelers out, and I've got 3 fantastic guests that like to get involved in the player ratings all the time. So I thought, you know what, let's reach out to them and see if they'd like to come on and do a bit of chatting on the screen. As you know, we've put a poll out on Twitter. If you haven't already, go put your thoughts in with our player ratings. We'll have a chat about each player individually and come to a conclusion as a collective, if we can, on what we're going to rate each player. As always, smash a like on the video. The more likes we get, the more people we can get involved in the chat, because that's what we want to do. Build up that community, get everyone involved. So please smash a like on the video. And I'll introduce the lads. So we've got Giancarlo. How you doing, my man? All right?
Relieved. I mean, I don't know if anyone saw me comment before, but that was shattering. It felt like I played the full 90 minutes myself. Massive win. But, the performance... still not quite there, is it? It's that step we needed, I guess. We fought through. We got the 3 points. That's the main thing. But at least it hasn't fought me even, because that's what a Leeds loss at Spurs a week anyway. Usually, typically.
Yeah, exactly. And we needed that ahead of a tough game. Obviously, we've got Leicester and Everton coming up next. Leicester's going to be hard on Sunday and all that much. Chris Kelly, how are you, my man?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, pretty much same as Giancarlo. A bit tired after all that, especially when you see Dwight Gale come on for someone against us, you're just oh, here we go.
I know, yeah.
It was just important to get the win after losing 3 on the bounce, wasn't it? And I think only 10 more points, and that's it. We've achieved season goal for this year.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Yeah, 100%. This is the thing as well. I've just mentioned it on my post-match. If you haven't watched it, guys, please watch it after this. I've seen that we've got 8 wins, which is the same amount as Chelsea, Arsenal, and Southampton. Now, I know Chelsea and Arsenal are the same team, but if you think of how much smoke being blown up Southampton and Ralph Hasenhutl's arse, let's be honest, it does. Then we're on the same wins as them, so we're not doing as bad as what people will believe the performance. I get it, but at the end of the day, the most important thing for us tonight, Lou, wasn't it? Was just getting 3 points, man.
Yeah, with the run of fixtures we've got going up, even coming up, the most optimistic of Leeds fans are probably not even going to expect anything against Leicester this weekend. I think we'd be hoping at least to get a point out of that, but I can't see us winning it, which sort of made this 3 points even more important tonight. Yeah. And I don't know what you boys would think. I always think this, but the commentators were desperate for Newcastle to score, weren't they? Talking about banging on about how well they were playing in the second half. And I was just sitting there getting more and more riled up. And so it made all the 3 points all the more sweeter. It was frustrating, really. We didn't lay a glove on Almiron or St. Maximin, did we, in the second half? They just playing out of their skins, but all for nothing.
Yeah, and I think
commentators were laughable when I think for the second time now they've said Stewie Dallas is Leeds born.
Yeah.
For God's sake, second time now.
And not only that as well, I've read since that apparently they said Steve Bruce has never beat Leeds. Has never lost to Leeds United, and we beat them 5-2 just a matter of weeks ago. Yeah, so it just shows you, man. That's why I say to people, watch it, sack it off, listen to us, man. Totally unbiased commentary. But let's kick it off then. We'll start with Ilia Mellier. Who wants to kick us off with Mellier? Does anyone want to take Ilia Mellier?
I've got him as a 7. Now, I think he made a couple of great saves in the second half. But first half, just again, coming for crosses, he looks a little bit nervous still. And he's only a young kid. He's going to get better and better and better. I really rate him. But there was that one that seemed to go straight through him and luckily hit Struick. And then the other one where he comes out for a punch and he gets it, but it's just a bit flappy. Yeah. But it was solid enough with a couple of good saves in for me. So I went with a 7.
Yeah.
Any advances on that? Does anyone want to?
I think 7's fair enough. He was in the wars a little bit, wasn't he, to begin with? I'm not so sure about the accidental glance of Wilson's boot across his face. I think he left that in there, to be honest.
You reckon?
I might be wrong, but I'm obviously watching it from my perspective. But I think a striker knows he could have. I think he could have lifted his boot over his head there rather than drag it across his face. Mellier was solid tonight though.
Yeah, Giancarlo, John H has said his distribution was better. I think for me, that's why I gave him a 7. I think he was pretty bang average. I don't think his distribution was that great today. I think when we were struggling to get it out from the back, he kept going to Ayling or Dallas on either wing or Alioski at the time, and we kept losing it, man, you know, or it was a poor ball. What were your thoughts on Mellier?
No, I agree. I think 7's for maybe 6.5. I don't like you. I know you don't like your half ratings. You know, Big Lou's spot on. They didn't even consider looking at VAR with that foot on. You know, from where Wilson, weren't it? Yeah. And they should be considering it. You know, if anyone moves the head slightly close to another player, they're straight to VAR. So a boot to the face, and he clearly got a boot to the face. Don't even consider it. You know, the knee. I think that may knocked him a bit for 6 when for a couple of his clearances, especially like when. You know, Chris was saying with the punch, his punching were a bit questionable. And to be honest, I thought it actually saved Almiron's goal.
Did you feel like Anthony Taylor was a little bit keen on getting Newcastle back in the game as well? There was a few really odd decisions.
We had plenty of free kicks just outside the box. And
it was the Phillips one towards the end of the game that annoyed me.
Yeah, I lost my head a few times, to be fair, because it's like, there was one, like you say, the Phillips one. He gave one against Phillips, and then a similar one for Almiron, or it might have been St. Maximin, and didn't give it. And I'm like, it just infuriates me sometimes. I've just been watching Arsenal Southampton there, and Xhaka turned. What's his famous? Who we were going to sign? What's his name? Adams, anyway. And then as he's trying to turn him, because Adams screamed, the ref gave a free kick, but it wasn't a free kick. I think they're very reactionary sometimes. They do me tits in.
That Phillips one was just Phillips being strong, wasn't it? It was just
exactly. Yeah.
He was fuming as well. He knew it wasn't a free kick.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I agree. Keep smashing the likes, people. So we've gone 7 for Mellier. 51% of people on Twitter have gone for an 8, and I do know that. As Leeds fans, when we win a game, 9 times out of 10, people get massive ratings anyway. To be fair, but I don't think he was quite an 8, but steady Eddie, 7 for me. Let's move on to Luke Ayling. From my personal standpoint, it was great to see him back at right back. If I'm being totally honest, like I do rate him as a centre back in all honesty, but there was a passage of play. I don't know if you remember when Harrison didn't take the touch like he did in the second half and scored, where he swung his leg at it and it came off his shin. But the lead up to that between Ayling and Rafinha, the little one-touch passing, is what I'm here for, man. I love it when he's playing like that. What are your guys' thoughts on Luke Ayling's performance?
I've gone 7 again for Luke. I think Sam Maximin had him a bit on toast in the second half at times. Sam Maximin is a quality footballer. Going forward and his general defending, it was just standard Bill, wasn't it? Pretty solid. And going forward, he's got that bit of flair for a right back. We do look worse going down the right wing when he's not there, without a doubt. Yeah.
And the more him and Rafinha play together on that side, they're just more the connection will come. What about you, Lou?
Yeah, I love Luke Ayling, but I think his mistakes are largely not really highlighted as much as like Coops, for instance. So
that's fair.
Ayling is a 7 out of 10 most games. So I don't think you could give him any lower today. But when we get to Coops, I have a feeling there's going to be a few 5s or 6s. He was a little bit suspect a few times today, but Ayling doesn't really get that criticism. But he did lose his man a few times tonight. St. Maximin is streets ahead of any other Newcastle player in that squad, and I think if it had been fit enough to play 90 minutes, it might have been a different outcome today.
Yeah, you make a good point, actually. Definitely, because he did have him on toast, like Chris said a few times. I think every time he picked up the ball, I was like, just bring him down. Just bring him down, man. Take a foul. There was one, I think, Jack Harrison. No, it was Ayling had an opportunity to bring him down on halfway, chose not to, and he got all the way to our box, and Cooper brought him down. Yeah. And I was thinking, if Ayling had just brought... Yeah. But that's the thing, though, isn't it? That's when you use your head. He's turned me. Just bring him down now as opposed to outside the box for a free kick, you know. Giancarlo Ayling?
Yeah, no, Sam Maximin definitely troubling. There's no doubt. I mean, but when you're coming on against a player that's played a full hour, no matter how good Ayling could be, and no matter how a good defender is, when the forward's got pace, he's just going to walk past it like he did. I love Ayling. I thought Ayling's been brilliant at centre back. Pushing forward and running up with the ball, as we saw with Llorente when he first started, and Koch were doing that a bit when he weren't injured, and he's likewise he's still doing that at right back, and he's coming in a lot. And Lou mentioned linking up with Rafinha is fantastic. I'd say 7. I think 7's fair. Fair.
7, man. Steady Eddie, innit, Bill? Steady Eddie every time. Yeah. To be fair, 58% of people have gone for a 7. There's a couple in there with 6 and some with 8 or more, but again, I don't think he was that bad or that good. So 7, Steady Eddie. Diego Llorente, he's on there. Let's just have a chat about him. I think for me, I was excited when he started, and there was a time where he picked up the ball and he ran straight to the halfway line. Yes, the pass was a bit wayward, but that's what I want to see from our centre backs, like Ben White used to. Like we've seen Stroud do a few times. I don't think really Cooper has it in his game, that injection of pace to be able to think, although he can pass the ball. It was nice to see, but then 6-7 minutes in, his hammy's gone, and we're probably not going to see him for a while again now. But let's not. We have put ratings out there, and 70% have gone for 5, which I think is very harsh. He only played like 6 or 7 minutes. But just what are your thoughts on Llorente, guys, and where do we go from here with him?
I just hope he's not a waste of money. I hope this is. Do you remember when Bielsa first came in and half our squad was crocked through extreme training regimes? But then the next season we were so strong, and I'm just hoping we're going to see the same for Llorente. I was gutted for him when his hamstring went, and I got a bit of a wallop on Facebook for putting that on one of the groups about. I just felt sorry for him, like, I'm sure his wage packet will help. At the end of the day, he's a footballer and he wants to play football. And he's clearly quality. So I'm just hoping it's not going to be an ongoing bad signing, and hopefully it's just getting over the Bielsa smashings in training and stuff like that, and he'll come strong.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
I hope it's bad luck, really. I hope it's just bad luck that he's doing it. But it's looking like we might get to the end of the season with not having both our international centre-backs fit at the same time. So maybe Coops is clutching a little bit in thinking, if they're both fit at the same time, does Coops even start? I think, but we got to stick with what we've got for now, and I think it's going to be just Cooper and Stroud for a while.
I even think when Koch comes back, I still think Cooper might be for the chop, because I really, really rate Pascal at centre back on that left hand side. Really rate him. I know Cooper's captain, but you've got to take sentiment out of it.
Footballer, isn't he, Stroud? Definitely.
Yeah. I think so, yeah. But yeah, I do feel really sorry for him, and I just hope we don't look back at the end of the season or whenever it is and think 18 million was a bit of a waste, But he's obviously got talent. It's just like you said, Chris, man. Bielsa's level of fitness and the training they have to do to get up to that. They've already gone through the wars in a sense, through murder ball and stuff, and then they come into a game and after doing it, it does pay dividends. We've seen that, but like you say, some footballers, even Adam Forshaw, you could look at it. It's too difficult for them. But Giancarlo, what are your thoughts on Llorente, mate?
I think he looked a promising outfit, like you said, in the first 8 minutes. Unfortunately, I jinxed it in your pre-match because I said that he'd be out in 5. And I did actually type 8, but I thought 8's a bit of a random number, so I'll put 5. So, I did actually put the jinx in him. So, it's a shame. And like Lou said, I can't ever see Llorente and Koch playing that centre-back pairing, even if he is fit, and maybe just one of them you have a backup centre-back. But even though we've spent so much money on him, will we ever see him in the starting team? I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Joe. He's another Forshaw, unfortunately. And, we are really unfortunate. We've got a decent player, but he just can't get fit.
Does anyone know much about his past at Sociedad? Has he got a history of injuries there?
Injury.
I don't know. I know they were glad to see the back of him. I remember that. But you don't play for Spain if you're not good. He pocketed Ronaldo in that game, Spain versus Portugal. But this is what I'm saying. That was his last proper competitive game. And that's the difference. He's playing at international level against Ronaldo. He comes to Leeds, he plays half against Chelsea and then 8 minutes against Newcastle tonight, and he's done. That just shows the level, you know. And it's like we were talking yesterday about Adam Forshaw with a couple of the lads, and probably Adam Forshaw fit when he's been fit or close to, probably still gets game time in a championship club or in a team that's not as well conditioned as ours. It's just different levels, man. I think maybe I'm wrong, but that's my overall thought on it. You've got to be at peak condition. So let's not rate Llorente. I think them people giving him 5 is a bit harsh. But Liam Cooper, Lou, we'll start with you. You thinking he would get in 6? Did you say?
I'd give Coops a 6 tonight. I mean, his pass in the first half was pretty good, but he weights his passes a little bit too close for comfort sometimes. The cross-field ones, and sometimes when he brings the ball out of defence, a little bit shaky. Got away with a few incidents as well where he lost Wilson, didn't he? At one point when the ball went over the top, got a little bit lucky there. Wilson was very lively tonight. I think Callum Wilson worked really hard, so he did have his hands full. But there's going to come a point where I think those they might not go for Coops, you know, and there'll be a costly mistake at the back. And saying that, I think Coops had a really good game against Brighton. Was one of the probably top 3 players in that game, along with Harrison. So, yeah, a 6 from me. And I don't like to criticise Coops because I love him, but I don't think he was great tonight.
It's mad, isn't it, Luke? 'Cause I'm like you, I love him. And I don't want to criticise him, but you get the other side that just can't stand him and say he's not good enough and hasn't been good enough for the past fucking 6-7 seasons that he's been here. Do you know what I mean? They just not have him at all. But Chris, thoughts on Cooper tonight?
I went 6 as well, pretty much for the same reasons. You know, I think probably if you watch the game back again and concentrated on Coops, he did some good stuff. Like, it was nice to see him being a bit stronger defending corners and getting into their attackers, you know what I mean, who were going for the ball, because normally at corners we're like, here you go, in the 18-yard box, fill your boots. But yeah, he does. It always looks like he's very close to making a mistake to me, does Coops, and I love him to bits. At the end of the day, he's the club captain. He's led the club on the pitch back to the Premier League, and I think he'll be around the club for 2-3 more seasons. But I don't see him starting beyond this season. I think with a bit more investment into season 2, I don't see him starting.
A Lorenzo replacement, maybe.
I get you, man. And he'll still be around the club because he's still a presence. I would hope that he would. I don't know what he is in age now on the top of my head, but probably
27, 28, I think now, Coops.
Right, okay. So he's still a long way to go in the game then. I was going to say probably end his career here, but nah, definitely not if he's only 27, 28, to be fair. I thought he was older, but Giancarlo Cooper?
I mean, very much like the lads, to be honest. Sometimes he just looks a little bit suspect when he's trying. If he has the ball, you know, instead of trying to run out of it, where a confident player, a more senior player will take it and run out, he just kicks it away. And I know there's that saying of kick it away if you can't, you know, if you're in a bit of danger. But, you know, there's just not a lot of composure there. And you see it all the time. And I think he were grappling with Wilson in the box before, you know, where he could have quite easily given a penalty. There weren't much shown about it, but I think I'd have to go. I think I may have to revise it. I might have to go an average 5, I'm afraid. Yeah. I just don't think he looks solid enough in defence at the moment. I don't know. I think it's quite questionable, and his heading ability as well. You know, to say he's one of our better centre backs. I think he got one decent heading, but they've tested a few times and from set pieces, and is not conducting himself. He's not giving his aerial presence across, and I don't know. I think I'd have to go 5.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think for me, he's so left foot, like so left foot. Like, every time he gets the ball, he's like curls onto his left. Do you know what I mean? And I do like the way that Pascal or even Laurenti that we've seen, or Ben White previously, Cock, when they're running out with the ball onto halfway, and we don't get that from Cooper. But we've had a couple of, to be honest, I went for 7 tonight. I did. I just thought he was steady, and that was just my opinion. So we've had a 7, a 5, and a 6. So Twitter's gone 40% 7, 38% 6. But I'm happy to go with a 6 with the majority on this one. To be fair, you've twisted my arm. We'll give Cooper a 6 tonight. Gianni Alioski. Giancarlo, do you want to start us off with Alioski?
It's not consistent enough again. I mean, last few games, he'll have like a blinding game. You know, he'll be outstanding. He'll link up so well with Harrison, and then others, he just seems to get lost. And I mean, I like the way, you know, Bielsa, well, I mean, Dallas and him always interchange. Sometimes one of them go in central mid, the other at left back. But you know, a couple of times he lost his man. I think it were at Almiron that were maybe running across him. He lost the ball. It fell. That's where he got the yellow card. Stuck the quite clear handball. Maybe 5. Maybe for not making it through or seeing it through. What was it? The first they make it past the hour mark.
Oh
yeah, click come on for him, didn't it? Click come on for him. I think I'd have to go for a 5.
Lou?
Yeah, I'd agree with 5. I mean, I'm feeling a little bit guilty now, bad mouthing Coops tonight. But I think Alioski was probably the most suspect defender on the pitch. He does this thing, doesn't he, where he loses his footing and then he tries to get back to his feet and just scrambles and then ends up handballing it. He's done that a couple of times now, and he was doing that at Ellen Road as well. And I think it was very obvious when he got his book in, and then he was basically taken off straight away, wasn't he? Dallas to left back and then Click in the centre of midfield. Yeah, I think we just looked like a better team almost instantly. We pretty much scored straight away. Just the balance of the squad looked a lot better. And although I agree Click needed a rest, I think going forward we need to be having Dallas in that left back position. Alioski has obviously scored a few goals this season, and he's done really well more at the start of the season. But I think he's starting to look a little bit shaky. He frustrated me a bit today. But you're right, he does link up well with Harrison down that side, but not enough today.
Chris, do you go along with this? Does he make your ass quiver?
He does at times, certainly defending, yeah. And I agree with the lads on a 5. I mean, let's be clear, Alioski is not a Premier League fullback. He's not. For me, he's filling a gap, which I guess Bielsa's trying to then free up Dallas to go elsewhere, certainly with Click needing a rest. But he's not a Premier League fullback. I love him going forward. I love his energy, and I love the way he's like what you see of him around the club and around the players. He's fucking mental, isn't he? He's Leeds through it, to be honest. But defending wise, you just like, especially with him and Coops next to each other as well. Sometimes you're going to drive a bus through there.
How do you boys feel about Leif Davis in that position, or do you think Dallas is just too essential to the team to leave him out?
I think Dallas is our best left back. And I really rate Leif Davis as well. Every time I've seen him, I'm like, he's done absolutely nothing wrong there, the kid. He's had a decent game. But I think Dallas is our best. I think it's Dallas' best position now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He should have adapted to it by now. He's been playing there long enough. You'd hope he would be our best left back.
It's weird, isn't it? Because for a right footer playing at left back, we never look constricted and the pitch smaller with Dallas there. Normally with a right footer or vice versa, you'd think the pitch would look small, come smaller, but never with Dallas.
No. It's great. Just before we move on, guys, we've got 73 likes on the video. There's over 250 people watching this, so please smash a like on the video. Let's get some more people in the chat. You know, get the community going. We need them likes, man, and get the likes for these guys jumping on as well. Super chat coming from Robert Swift, who says Alioski doesn't have the discipline needed. You can't be on our right wing if you're left back. Sorry, he's not good enough. I mean, in saying that though, if he is popping up on the right wing, I can't remember him doing so, but if he is, I mean, that's under instructions, man. Our players do go all over. If he was told to stay put, he would stay put, you know. I can't remember him popping up on the right wing, but I get it as well, you know. For me, like you said, Giancarlo, for me, this was a game where I thought Alioski would have a barnstormer, because it's normally against teams like a Newcastle, like a West Brom. They're going to sit back and let him have the ball and have a lot of space in front of him. He normally has a better game, but I agree with you. I don't think he was great tonight, and like you say, we looked a lot more assured when the substitution was made. But did we get Scott? What was the ratings we gave? Giancarlo, you said 5, right?
5, yeah.
5 across the board. I'm happy to go with that. Twitter has gone with the 6, 62%, and then we've got 1% have actually gone for 8. I don't know who that who that one person was, if it equates to one person. I'm not good at maths.
Maybe someone likes him steaming across onto the right wing.
True. Right. Moving in to Calvin Phillips back in the side today. He might not have been. We'll find out what you guys think about his performance as a whole, but looks so much more assured when he's there as opposed to Pascal. I know that much. But Chris, do you want to start us off with Calvin?
Yeah, he's probably the hardest one to rate for me tonight, is Calvin, because I didn't see anything special, but sometimes that's when Calvin's been at his best. And I think the team in general, like you say, just looks so much stronger with him in front of the 2 centre-backs. So I went a 7 for Calvin just because I thought he was bang steady tonight. If we don't win, I'm probably dropping it a mark, which is standard in it, but 7, just solid Calvin tonight without being special.
Yeah, I agree with that, me. I think steady Eddie at 7. That's what I went for, Lou.
Yeah, 7 is fair. I mean, I think even if we drew, I think maybe I'd have gone with a 6 for Calvin. There were some slight similarities, minus probably the pitch and the style of opponent, but it had a little bit of a Burnley feel about it, didn't it? In the clinging on part of it. But then again, Phillips was pretty epic in that game against Burnley. But we didn't really see that from him today. Maybe more so when they went with 2 strikers in the second half. We saw him a little bit more central, but a few of his longer passes went astray tonight, which was a little bit frustrating. And I think Calvin looked better when Click was on the pitch as well, which I think says a lot about what players are imperative to this team. And I think Phillips, Click and Dallas, who I was pretty worried when he went down injured, actually, Dallas, when he was holding the back of his knee, wasn't he? A few moments like that tonight. And I don't think Dallas played against Crawley, did he? I think that massively showed as well. But, yeah, Calvin needs Click on the pitch.
Steady Eddie. And Matt says, disappointed in Calvin tonight, expected more, but still gives him a 7. So that shows, I guess, the high standards that we hold him in, that we can be disappointed, but still say, give you a 7. What about you, Giancarlo?
I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, he looked a lot more assured than Strike had in that position recently. I mean, a couple of times where he's given the ball away, maybe it could be a bit stronger. The one that I look back to mainly was when Shah went running through central midfield. Now, obviously, the attack and the defence technically starts at the forward. It works away through the team. So someone should stop him, but Phillips is that player that should really be in that right position to try and slow him down at least, and he still made it through him. Now, I know he made it past him, and then Cooper's made a sidestep. Phillips, I think I'll have to go for a 6, maybe. I think he was lucky to get away without getting a yellow card, to be honest, a couple of times.
It needs addressing, doesn't it? The centre-backs or the defensive midfielders running straight through the middle. Webster and Ben White were doing that against us as well.
Well, exactly,
And I don't think they can believe their luck, how much space they have sometimes.
It broke my heart watching Ben White maraud through the middle of us time after time.
God, he's so good, isn't he?
I remember I wrote it on my notes, like Shah times 3. I think he did it like 3 or 4 times. And I think that's the thing with this man-marking system. Whenever a centre-back who can carry the ball gets the beating of Rodrigo, Roberts, Bamford and gets in front of them, then the seas open up, and it's just a straight run. And I think the players are that wary of their man that no one dare commit and dare go, because then when they do that, there's a pass option available. And it's hard to watch as a Leeds fan sometimes when you just think, because I guess all we know as like being young is close him down. That's all I knew. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was playing football, because I was a left back or right back, I was gash basically. I just went. But that's all it would be. Just close him down, Joe. Get out to them. I don't know. But yeah, guys, we're a couple of likes off 100 likes, so keep smashing the likes on the video if you can. Stuart Dallas, I was impressed with him in the middle of the day. When I seen Clicker being dropped, I was a bit like, wow, that's big shout, because it's only the second time it's happened. First time being when he was basically still pissed when we played Derby. So really, you could say it's the first actual dropping. That time he probably needed it. But yeah, I thought he was really good in the middle of the park for me tonight. I thought he was decent, steady performance. 7 for me. But what about you, Lou?
Yeah, I'm going to go 8 for Dallas tonight. I just think with how much we rely on him to do so much compared to other players in the team, shifting him around, he's involved in everything good at the start of an attack, whether it be a 1-2 with whoever. He's just brilliant at getting us going, linking up that play, tracks back. He just runs all game. He's brilliant. Like I said before, he's so important to the way we play, and he doesn't normally get a lot of compliments from the commentary and when they sort of do the punditry on him. But they were saying how good he is and how impressed they've been with him, and I think it's starting to be a lot more noticeable now. And obviously Leeds born as well, so even better.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I did 147. Bazzy's got man of the match. He wasn't my man of the match. He was good, but that man of the match performance is saved for someone else. But yeah, great seeing them say he's born and bred in Leeds. Absolutely amazing. But Chris, what are your thoughts on Stewie D tonight?
Do you know, initially I went to 7, and then I looked again and I thought, if I've given Calvin a 7, I've got to give Stewie more. Because I think he was the better player in midfield tonight. And like Lou said, when he went down and holding his knee, although I do think Stewie Dallas had play on with his leg snapped in half, to be fair, but I was like, it's just one player. You don't want to see go off. So I finished up on an 8 for him after sort of some hard thinking about it. But he's just quality. Wherever he plays, he's steadying a little bit more always. You know exactly what you're going to get from Stuart Dallas, and I love him for that.
Yeah. It's crazy as well, because I remember them times when we first brought him in and he never really take a man on, and it just used to frustrate me as a winger. You know, from my wingers, I want to see someone beating a man one-on-one, getting round him with pace. I used to watch him, and he would frustrate me when we played him there. But it's just mad, isn't it? Bielsa's coming and
how much do you think he's worth now then? Because he was 1.3 million, which is a steal now, you'd think.
Yeah.
You reckon I reckon he's worth about 7 million, 8 million, maybe?
Sort of 8, 9 million, I reckon.
Yeah. Without panicking. I don't think that sounds like too much. I mean, name a player who's developed more than he has in this side. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, he is. I don't know, because these players, I mean, when they do move on, right, and I guess they get sold, and these people will be expecting these world beaters, and they'll just go over teams and just revert back to what they was. That's my thought process.
Yeah, for sure.
Dallas will become pretty rubbish again. Do you know what I mean? Get 8 million and then be like, oh, good, and then just get bombed out.
Well, there'll come a point towards the back end of their career where he'll be playing for Big Sam somewhere, and he'll be hating everything.
Yeah, true. There is that. Giancarlo, what about you on Stewie D?
I mean, he encompasses Bielsa's versatility, in what he wants and plays. You said it the other week. Think of yourself, Joe. You compared him to Milner. He is our current Milner. So. He does any role you want him within. Like I was saying, he was swapping between Alioski constantly, left back, central mid, playing beautiful balls. He just doesn't look out of position for me. And then, obviously he finishes a game at left back, but he can still have such an attacking prowess, I guess, in the game. I think I'd have to go 7 or 8. No, I'll go. I'll be more positive. I'll go for 8.
I was going to say you boys, but I'd rather see him in net than Kiko. I think he could do it.
It's true, man. It's true. I agree with you guys, man. I'm happy. I did go for 7, just looking at the poll on my tick, but like Chris said, if you're going for 7 for Calvin, Dallas in an unfamiliar position, although it's not so much to him now, but we forget, don't we? He's a fucking right winger, and you've got him playing centre mid, left back, and it's
interesting to see if he could play a wing at all now. Just throw him up top, just see how he does on wing nowadays.
Yeah, but good performance from Stewie D. Buzzing for him. Right, let's go to the right-hand side, and that man, Rafinha. Goal and an assist tonight. Just special, and he's special. But who wants to kick us off with Raf?
Well, I'm going to go. If that's right. Is that all right? Yeah.
Go on, Chris.
Without a shadow of a doubt, man of the match. Outstanding. I mean, I haven't really given my opinion on him recently. I think there's no doubt he's got skill about him. He's got that. But I've seen, like, in the United game where he loses a ball a couple of times. But without doubt today, he really showed his worth. He was superb. I mean, he sold the defence with the goal, slotted it nicely away. And that ball to Harrison, wow. You know, just dinking it over. Fantastic play. You know, I 9.
Yeah.
Well,
he was special. He was special for me.
Yeah.
I would argue, you know, that I'm almost certain without watching it back, it was him that played that ball over to Harrison in the first half as well, which Harrison should take the touch on. He's just so good, man, and I still cannot believe we paid 17 million for him. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, for me, he's up there. Chris, what are your thoughts?
I'll go score first. I gave him a really solid 9. I mean, another goal and he's getting a 10, but he's just, every time he gets the ball, I'm like, just go on, lad. I love watching him play. And my favourite thing about him, he's a Brazilian player, he's new to the league, but he looks bothered. Do you know what I mean? Some of them go right, and he's angry and he wants pissed off. We go and batter a team or whatever, and he doesn't score, and he's pissed off he hasn't scored. I love that about him. He's just hungry. I think he's a proper Bielsa player. Grafts his nuts off and has got that special touch. Love him to bits, mate.
Yeah, me and Oscar were talking about on the stream, because if you remember the set two between Shah and Rodrigo, Rafinha was straight over. That look in his face. We said he's got a bit of the Diego Costa about him, you know, that kind of South American bite. I know he went to play for Spain, but he's Brazilian, but he's got that South American about him, you know. And
there will come a point where Rafinha will get sent off and a few match bans because he's laid the nut or dropped someone. He's one of them, and I won't judge him for it. I love a player.
Chris doesn't care.
Every week. He's one of them, and I like it. He cares, and for a young Brazilian lad to come in, I'm all for it.
100%. Lou?
Yeah, well, like Chris said, I was going to say about his attitude is just so good. His will to win. He works hard. He tracks back. He could be one of those flair players that has a bit of a stinky attitude and he's only interested in the attacking elements. But obviously, Bielsa wanted him. I think they're probably laughing now about how cheap he was. I know it sounds ridiculous because we're talking about millions, but he's unbelievable. He is, without a doubt, the signing of the summer for us by a distance. He is a 9 today. Like Chris said, another assist or another goal, and he was a 10 out of 10. But what you were saying there about his anger, and we obviously losing 3-0 against Crawley, and he was ushering that player off the pitch when we had no hope in hell of winning. He didn't care, did he? He just wanted the game to get going again as soon as possible. He's brilliant, and initially wasn't getting in the team above Costa, but that didn't take long, did it?
No, definitely not. This is class as well. This is what it's about, man. Like when I've mentioned it, obviously someone's noticed. You've all just grinned, and that's what it's about, man. That's what you want players. Though. We're all fucking old of age. I'm 32, and I'm like, Rafinha. You know what I mean? It's just class, in it. You know, it is brilliant.
I'm only 23, Joe. Give me some.
Mate, I'm long in the tooth now, mate. I didn't realise, Giancarlo. I thought you were about.
I didn't realise I was that much older than you, Joe.
Great, man, great. I just want to shout out this guy as well. Some of you might know who he is. Wait there, let me find this chat. Oh, where's it gone? Oh, Dylan Howarth told me earlier on. I don't know if you've seen Asim yet. I don't know if any of you have caught Asim. He just throws cash at the chat, but apparently he's over on other channels now, putting super chats on there, giving us shout out. So I love him, man. Big shout out, Asim. Hopefully he gets to watch this, but apparently he's on other channels now, putting super chats about our stuff in. But yeah, 9s across the board. We've only ever given 110, and that was the first time we did this in player ratings. And that was for Calvin against Everton. He was absolutely exceptional that night. But yeah, I mean, like you say, Chris, maybe another goal and it's close to a 10 because a goal and an assist, man. He's just, he's special, man.
That ball was just filth. It really was.
It felt like slow motion. The ball was so good that I was like, how is he in that much space? Yeah. He scored. I almost wasn't. I celebrated, obviously, when he scored, but I sort of had to check myself. I think it was the lack of fans in the ground maybe for that one. But
and Jack Harrison's reaction. Because I didn't have the sound on, Jack Harrison just went like that, and I thought he's offside. No.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, he was in that much space. But what a ball.
He's not a big celebrator when he scores. I've noticed that. He doesn't go crazy, does he?
Thinks he's
very measured.
Yeah, very measured. Very measured. Let's move on to Harrison then. Let's do Jack Harrison.
Can I go first on Jack?
Let's do it, man.
Because I think Jack Harrison gets a lot of stick from some corners of our fan base, and I don't understand why. Yes, sometimes his final ball can be better, but you have to listen. I listen to. I mean, he's a muppet most of the time, to be fair, but like Rio Ferdinand and ex-players like that who just wax lyrical about him. We know his first touch is world class, and that goal tonight just. Like I think Rio Ferdinand said, it was like a paintbrush, the way he just stroked across the edge of the ball. I think he's a cracking player, and if we're getting him for £10 million, it's theft. We're absolutely to say we got 10 million for Jack Clark or there or thereabouts. It's absolute theft. I really rate him. I've got him as an 8 tonight. Jackie Haradonna, as I call him. His quality. I really do.
Something tells me we're not going to see Jack Harrison on loan at Stoke at any point.
Definitely, and it is mad. Like people keep saying, I keep seeing it that you guys might tell me different, but I keep seeing like people saying, "Oh, City will want to keep him; they'll want more." But I believe that deal's already signed, sealed, delivered. It's 10 million. It's done. You know, we could have done it this summer for like 8, I think maybe, but because we've moved it on to the thing, it's 10. So I don't think there's any issues with City vetoing that and saying we're keeping him, we're going to sell him for X amount. It's not going to happen. But Chris, it is honestly, I hear what you're saying because even I'm guilty of that. You know, like I really rate him, but I can look at a game like tonight, for example, and think, oh, he's been okay. But then, like you say, after the game, everyone's fawning over him. All the pros saying, oh, he's such a great talent. He's so great. Da, 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 da. And sometimes I miss that. But that's me, my lack of knowledge for the game.
I think also there's a thing to say with Jack is when we've got Alioski at left back, Jack has to work damn hard as well. The amount of times you see him backing against our corner flag, backing up Alioski and everything. That lad runs for 90 minutes. It's just class.
Yeah, no, I agree. Lou Harrison?
Yeah, I think he's in the 8 category on the basis that I don't think he played better than Stewie Dallas, and Rafinha is definitely going to be the man of the match. What's most exciting about Harrison is his age for a start, but he's somebody that I think is just looking for. He knows he's going to get stability and game time at Leeds, and I think he could be a really, really big player for us in the next few years. And you know, maybe he'll be a 20-25 million player. You know, if he carries on the way he is. But I think sometimes he gets a little bit of stick because he doesn't beat a man, does he? It's his touch and his pace and his strength that is more about him. He's obviously a very different winger to Rafinha, but I think the goal, although he scored some crackers already this season, I think the goal that summed up his attitude for me was the goal he scored against Reading when he ran the length of the pitch to nod the ball in from that Costa cross on that rainy, horrible night in Reading. I don't know if any of you boys went. And that just summed him up really for me. And he's absolutely brilliant. I love Jack Harrison. Yeah, solid 8. Getting all teary now, aren't
I? Giancarlo, Jack Harrison.
I think I'm going to have to go for one lower. I think I'm going to have to go for 7. I mean, to have the audacity to go for that shot straight from Rafinha's ball, you know, again, it was a fantastic finish. I expected him to cross it, to be honest. So really surprised he took the shot on. And he couldn't have hit it more perfect because, you know, an inch short of Darl's getting onto it, an inch over probably go over crossbar and no one hour look. But it's like when, you know, Bamford has his critics with finishing, and, you know, Harrison misses some easy chances. And I'm not saying the one that you referred to, Joe, was an easy one that Rafinha crossed in and he skimmed, but he pretty much missed the full ball, and he should at least be getting a solid boot behind it. You know, there's no doubt he's skillful. I love how his first touch just takes so many right backs out of the game, plenty of time. But more often than not, he'll beat a player. He'll come back, he'll beat him again, he'll come back, and then he loses his run, and then all the defenders are back. And it happened a couple of times. So I think a seven's where I'm at. Yeah,
Giancarlo's been very harsh tonight. Very, very harsh, I think. We need that, though. That's what it's about. Yeah. That's why we get you here, man.
I'm the devil on your shoulder, and you 3 guys are the angels.
Yeah, the angels. Yeah, big. Yeah, that's why we get it on. I mean, I went for an 8, just looking at the poll. I went for an 8. I thought he was great tonight and took his goal really well because, let's be honest, I mean, prior to that on the watch-along, I'd said that Newcastle were in the ascendancy. I think the goal came out of nowhere, really, because we had such a poor second half. It came from nowhere. I was like, whoa, it was scored, you know, and I think with the lack of the celebration and that, and it was really weird how it went in, but great ball from Rafinha, and what a finish. I do think, I look back at that first chance and think, I wish he'd just brought it down, because that would have been goal, like an unbelievable goal. We're up there with some of the best under Bielsa for me, because I thought it was brilliantly worked. But yeah, I think for me, 8, and again, an absolute steal that we'll get, you know, for 10 million in the summer. Just big shout out Steve here, who says, thanks for the quote, Paul Joe. I'm a new Leeds fan, an English football fan, watching from near Houston, Texas. We're global now. He says he appreciates the constant content. No worries, my brother. And it's great to now start getting other people on as well that watch the channel. That's why we wanted to do that. So grateful for these lads giving up their time tonight as well. There's 370 odd people watching. We've got 136 likes. So keep smashing a like on the video, guys. It's greatly appreciated. Right, who've we got left to do? So we need to now chat about Rodrigo Moreno. I think for me, he had one of his better games tonight. Let's hope this thing doesn't get apparently where he's spat. Apparently, it didn't look like it. We might see footage tomorrow. I know Lou mentioned it might be in the press. I hope that doesn't shroud the performance, because I thought for me he was good tonight. I really like when the ball gets played into him and he'll drop his shoulder or turn the player, and he just turns into so much space, and it's mad how it works, man. It's crazy, because obviously he's the next level up, like Rafinha is the next level up. Regardless, people still think he's a flop, etc. Maybe they were expecting goals. He never really got goals throughout his career, but you can just see that next level for me. Ball gets played into him and he just turns, and then the pitch is opened up, and it's like, wow, boom, ball to Rafinha. You know, I think he's quality, me personally, and I thought tonight he was fantastic, and I've gone for 8, guys. I have. What about you, Giancarlo? Do you want to start with this one?
I think I agree. I think 8's very fair. A couple of times, nice little balls over to Rafinha. You know, he's so direct, and like I said, he can spread the ball so easy. I think he lacks a little bit in the defensive side, but I mean, he's there to attack. You know, a couple of sloppy balls, but everyone else should be picking them up. He should be just going and getting the goals. 8, sort of solid performance.
Yeah. Lou?
I think I'd go for 8 for Rodrigo today. I think people need to remember he's a 9 playing 10, so he's still learning that position. And if you remember, Calvin Phillips wasn't always amazing in that defensive midfield role. It probably took him a season. I think Rodrigo having this season with maybe a little bit of less pressure, with no fans in the ground, learning this position, I think we could see a different player with fans back in the ground and him playing that position. he doesn't finish his chances as much as I'd like to see, considering he's a 9. But he was brilliant tonight. Works really well with Rafinha. Like you boys were saying, the defensively can be a little bit shaky. But it will be interesting to see what happens with him now if this spit thing actually becomes obvious. But knowing the press, I wouldn't be surprised to see a doctored video of some saliva coming out of his mouth or something, you know.
Well, definitely and that will only harm his confidence, won't it? Well, no, I mean, harm his confidence, but, you know, there's no doubt they'll be looking into it, and then there'll always be that question mark of, well, are we going to see him next game?
We'll be able to stand for that. He won't stand for that spitting thing. I wouldn't be surprised to see him have to wriggle his way back into the team if he has done that.
Matt in the comments is saying that Phile's reporting that he said something to Shah that Shah took offence to.
Yeah, that's what Rodrigo's standpoint is, I think. But I don't know if the Newcastle players are going with something different. But I think for me, I don't know if it's been built up as something in, because for me, surely Shah's reaction would have been a lot worse, and he'd have been saying to the ref,
"He'd have spat on him, mate. It kicked off."
Yeah, he said he spat. There was none of that. So we'll have to wait and see. I think the other thing for me on Rodrigo as well is I love how he'll start a move off, and you'll just see him busting a gut to get in the box, man. And look, the assist for Rafinha's goal was measured as well. I was saying it on my post-match. It's a really tight angle, and if that's Alioski, if that's Bamford, with all due respect to them, they might have swung a boot at it and just thought, I'll have a go. But he's stopped, he's turned, he's played a lovely pass into Rafinha, and it's an easy goal for Rafinha. So props to him for that as well. Just before I ask you, Chris, I just want to ask him. He said, do you watch Mark Goldbridge channel, a super chat? Yes or no? I have watched him when he has his meltdowns, mate. Yes, as many people do with fan channel stuff, of course. But yeah, Chris, talk to me about Rodrigo.
Yeah, you know, an 8 for me as well. His first thought every time he gets the ball, if he's deep, is where's Rafinha? Every time. Yeah. And normally Rafinha's like at 153 mile an hour, hurtling down the right hand side, and the weight on his balls tonight for Rafinha, the lad's not having to break stride. He's just into it and gone and making left backs look like absolute mugs. I think there's a lot more to come from him. I agree with Lou. I'd like to see him finish off a few more chances. Yeah. It's the same we've been saying about Bamford for 3 years. Do you know what I mean? I want to see him more, but can't question his quality. Like you say, him and Rafinha are at next level. And if they're the types of players we're looking at bringing in over the next season, 2 seasons, then we've got
this is what I'm saying, isn't it? If you think, right, Rodrigo, Rafinha, another midfielder, to play alongside there. You've got Jack Harrison, maybe someone in the 9, better left back. Oh man, and I'm talking players on their level, you know what I mean? Straight away, it's like, wow, European football's on the horizon, genuinely.
I mean, one I'm really fond of. I know people think he had a sticky start, but Robin Koch as well. That lad's going to be a fire of a centre back.
Yeah. I agree. Owen said Shah's apparently confirmed he wasn't spat at, which I hope that is the case. That would be, we all want that to be the case because we don't want that. I think someone makes a good point as well. I've just seen Paul Fell says busting a gut to get forward, but not busting a gut to get back. I do agree with that as well, because I do see in games when we bring Pablo on, you notice Pablo picking it up in like at the edge of our box, and you're thinking, I've never seen Rodrigo there. Like the last time we seen him there, gave a penalty against Liverpool. You know what I mean? So maybe it's a good thing that he's not back there. I don't know, but
I don't want to make excuses for him. If he's not tracking back, that's not good. But he has actually come out and said, hasn't he, that he's suffered some effects from COVID still, and he's not always feeling like 100%. Which, as we've seen with St. Maximin, who's been out for ages, and his wasn't an injury, was it? It was all COVID. So there is this whole murky, long COVID stuff going on with a few players that are struggling to get back to fitness. So I think I'd like to think that's more of that situation as opposed to laziness.
Yeah, of course. That's a good shout. Gary Brown says he's new on here. It's been really interesting to listen to views on here, in which I mostly agree with. It's like you're talking with your mates down the pub about Rodrigo, etc. That's what we want, mate. If you're new to it, Gary, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, All Leeds TV. smash us a like on the video. Constant content, mate. Get involved. And if you want to come on the show like these lads have as well, get in touch, man. We can make that happen. Right, so we've done one man left to do from the starting lineup. Paddy Bamford. Paddy Bamford tonight.
What was it?
Yeah, I went for a 5 personally, guys. I did. I'm just looking at my thing, and the reason I'll say that is I think we know that he's a confidence player. We know that he goes through bursts, and I feel at the minute he's just not in form. He's not on one of it. Because the way I look at it is there was so many times tonight that the balls were played into him, and I always think now, I know he's got the ability because I remember Villa. I remember that hat-trick against Villa. I remember him picking it up in tight areas with Mings, etc. in front of him, and him rolling the ball from his right to his left, little intricate passes here and there. So we know he's got technical ability. So it's really frustrating when balls get played into him and it's not sticking. And that's, for me tonight, it just didn't stick. And when it happens like that, I think for me, if you don't have a good start to a game, you might as well write him off. And that's my own personal opinion. You don't have to agree with that, guys. But for me, I thought he was pretty poor tonight. And we've seen that because we don't see very often Bamford getting taken off with Rodrigo still being on the pitch. It's normally the other way around. So, yeah, I didn't think he was great. But Chris, thoughts on Paddy tonight?
Yeah, I agree, mate. 5. I think he gave, a poor pass to Bill as well, which ended up with them scoring, didn't he? Just a bit of a weak flick of a ball to Bill, who lost it. I don't know. He looked off. It looked a bit sulky. There was a lot of arm waving and strops being thrown. And we have seen that on a couple of occasions before. And Bielsa's done the same thing and hooked him off. So it wasn't a surprise to see him go off tonight. Yeah, a 5, mate. I agree. He just didn't look on it tonight.
And I get lad to Leeds, it's all a game of opinions, but did it? I mean, the Alioski nicked in front of Murphy, give it Bamford. Bamford just laid a pass on to Rodrigo, was he? I don't know. I don't think he was that integral. I know he played the pass to Rodrigo, but I think Alioski nicking the ball away. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I don't even think that was a great ball, though. He sent Rodrigo. Really
too far. Yeah, you had to cut it back. Yeah, good shout. Good shout. But again, it's about opinions. Asim has gone for an 8 for Paddy. I don't know if he was watching the same game as us. Lou, what are your thoughts?
Game on replay.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Paddy?
I think obviously we mentioned how the other 2 subs that came on today made a lot of difference. I think when Bamford went off, I think we were a little bit more solid, weren't we? Roberts looked lively. Bamford was poor tonight. I wouldn't say he was shocking, but he was poor. Some of the passes into him, Phillips kept putting the ball behind him a couple of times, and that didn't really get us going. Bamford was not great tonight. He was looking out of sorts, but I think this was probably always going to happen after the fast start he had. I don't think any of us really thought he was going to get 20, 25 goals. He started well. He silenced the critics, but I think they'll probably start creeping back in again now. I don't like Roberts as a 9, to be honest, but I think he did a better job tonight than Bamford did. That being said, Bielsa's not going to drop Bamford, so we probably shouldn't criticise him too much.
Yeah, just before I come to you, Giancarlo, we've seen some frees. There is a free. I weren't going to put them up because I was thinking they're being too harsh, but then I was like, no, we have to put them up. So a few people have gone for frees just to address lad to Leeds, good friends of mine. He said, yeah, we scored from it. Yeah, but that was more due to Rodrigo and the pass and all that sort of stuff. Maybe if it had been a good pass into Rodrigo would have scored. You know what I mean? Never know. But let me know. I want to know what your actual score then is. So you got subbed quite rightly, but not a 5. Let me know your score for Bamford in the chat. I don't think it was quite a 3. I personally went for 5. Giancarlo, what's your opinion on Paddy tonight?
Average 5, spot on. I mean, up to 4 games ago, he was going to be my player of the season. He's been outstanding up to like I said, last few games. And I mean, if anyone's that active, I guess, in the Leeds United supporters group, they'll see I put quite a lot on about Bamford, especially last season. So, there's no doubt he missed so many chances last year, but he soon made up for it. The start of the season has shown his worth. But it's the chances were again a bit like Harrison. He just a decent forward would get a good header, a good connection on the header, which he just glanced well wide. He just always seems to misjudge his shooting, and I like Roberts up front. I mean, he hasn't been given enough of an opportunity to show what he can offer in that position. He come on for half an hour, but when Bielsa's taken him off after, it was about an hour or so, it's quite clearly showing he's losing some faith in him because, like Lou said, he never takes him off. He never doesn't start clickers, like I said, Joe. He's only ever not started once. So taking Bamford off an hour in, is that a question that he maybe question his starting position in the team? Maybe not, but you may well see Roberts a lot more. And to say that Roberts was supposed to be going a few games back, he's supposed to be going to Derby, or at least someone else on loan, we may well see him a lot more than we expect, or even Rodrigo up front, perhaps.
I think if you're gonna do the whole Rodrigo at 10 experiment, you don't want to be moving Rodrigo to 9. You want Rodrigo in at 10, and then if you are dropping Bamford, you say, right, Roberts, here's your shout, go for it. This is what we need from you. But it was interesting that he did sub Bamford today. I don't think that's anything to go on. I think Bamford's still going to start on Sunday.
It's just the word thing that we don't have an out and all forward on the bench. I mean, Roberts is naturally a number 9. Rodrigo was, but he doesn't like playing in that position. So I mean, that's where the argument where you may say about bringing one of the under 23s into the bench, but then they haven't got the experience. That's where I would really like to strengthen, or at least have Bamford some competition, because he hasn't had competition now since Nketiah. If we're right on, you're never going to consider what's he called? The gentleman that only played 2 games and then ended up back at his club because he was.
No.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember his name now. Mine's gone blank. That's how much of an impact he had.
I don't know who you're talking. You're on about thingy. What's his face? Who's just come back from?
No, the one with a double barrel name that ended up. He went back on loan. They were ordered back.
Oh, Jean-Kevin Augustin, man. That's AKA, yeah, bloody hell, man. Forget about him. How mad's that? He was going to be the saviour. I remember when we signed him. I was like, yes, man. What a signing! And now we don't even know he is. Yeah, mad.
Bamford hasn't had any competition for some time now, and maybe it is time he has that competition.
Yeah, good.
Surely we're going to buy a striker in summer.
I think it'll be a position that's been highlighted for next season. If we want to go to the next step and be looking at top half in an upper to around 6, we need someone who's going to bury the chances. And Paddy's not that. For all his work rate and everything else, which I love him for. I've been a big defender of Patrick Bamford, but I just thought tonight he was well off it.
Yeah, it's more the linking up play when that's not coming off as well. You can forgive him for the missed chances in a sense if you're winning games with the link up play. But tonight, I cannot remember, apart from, I guess, like Lad to Leeds have rightly pointed out, he played the pass to Rodrigo. But every time the ball went in, I can't remember it sticking. And I know he's got it in his locker. So it was frustrating. And I've gone for 5. And to be fair, 49% of people on Twitter have gone for 5. 29% 6 and 21% 4 or less. So not a great night for him, and rightly so. Personally,
we'll go back that trick now against Leicester. You watch?
Yeah, well, hope so. You know what I mean? I hope so. We all remember. I mean, Leicester last time out. I know they battered us 4-1 and were good value for it, but he had a sitter before Harvey Barnes scored. If that goes in, it's a different game. It could be a different game, but that's goals change games, right? We had a chance against Spurs. Alioski tight angle misses, we get spanked. This is the thing against them bigger sides. There will come a time when we do score first, we do take our chances, and then we'll see how the game pans out. Because now people won't give us a chance against Leicester, but who knows?
There's always have chances, and you can't always put it down to Bamford. Like I said, there's Alioski, and I know he's playing at left back, but he can play on the wing. Everyone should be able to, get a decent shot in on goal. Dallas, we're praising him, but he always seems to drag them wide. But Bamford's our forward. There's no doubt he should be getting a decent header in with that one that he glanced from that free kick, weren't it? So, anyway. 5.
Yeah. Happy with 5s though for Paddy tonight. Right, we've got to the substitutes then. We're going to start with Pascal. Basically, you call him a substitute, but he basically played for like 82 minutes of the game. I thought he was good tonight. I really rate him, mate. I do. At centre-back, I just see so much potential in the lad. I can't remember who said it though, but someone said he could be the next Virgil van Dijk. I think it was weeks ago. I can't remember who said it.
That was Mitch Emerson.
Mitch Emerson, that was it. Yeah,
and he was talking about. I think there's more to it than what I'm just about to say, but he said there's no reason why he can't be the next £100 million player.
Is it? And
I mean, he's got bags of potential. I don't think he's ever going to be that much. And I'm like you, Joe. He's a centre back, isn't he? He's not. He's not a defensive midfielder. And the less he plays there, I think the better it will be for him.
The kid's got ball skills. He came through the Ajax academy, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ayling said he's one of the best passers of the ball in the team.
Yeah. He was fab for me. What we going score wise then, guys?
Here's a 7. 7 for me.
So
I don't think he did a lot wrong. He looked a lot more assured than Coops. He did what he needed to do, and he was the man bringing the ball out of defence a lot more. I guess that's his role, but you can't really fault the guy, really. It's difficult coming on in those circumstances. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to have seen Llorente play the entire game.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, isn't it? But I wasn't worried when he came on as a sub.
Yeah.
I mean, he's our current Berardi, isn't he? Because we're relying on him so many times to fill the position. What we did when Berardi did last year. I think 7's really fair. Looks solid, better than Cooper, I'm afraid. And, you can imagine it can be quite disheartening when as soon as, even though Llorente is our main signing, as soon as he's fit, you drop straight away. And then to come on 8 minutes into the game and, it was solid. There were no doubt about it. He had a good game.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with Rich here. And I've said it for a few weeks now, really, to be fair, that I see that being obviously, if Loren is out, I think Cooper's lucky, personally, to come straight back into the side. It's just my opinion. I get he's the captain, and I do love him. Don't get it twisted. I do, but I just love Pascal. I think he looks so good, so measured on the ball. I went for a 7 myself. Chris?
Yeah, I went 7 as well, and I agree with that comment as well. I think the future at centre-back is Koch and Pascal.
Yeah.
He's got that. Whereas Coops puts a foot on the ball, you're like, oh shit, what's going on?
Yeah.
On the ball, and you're expecting a bit of quality. And again, I don't want people to think I'm bashing Coops. I love Coops. Good captain. He, like I say, he led us up to the Premier League. But Pascal, again, for me, we're talking about Rodrigo and Rafinha being the next level. I think Pascal's got the ability to be at that level as well.
Yeah. Not quite £100 million player, as Mitchell said.
I'm not sure he's the next Virgil, but you never know, do you? Under Marcelo, you never know.
Yeah,
I think we're lucky as well, boys. We're lucky that he has developed as quickly as he has, and is available for first team selection in Bielsa's eyes. We talk about the versatility of our players and our squad, which is great. But if Pascal Strike isn't in there at centre back, then all of a sudden you've got Dallas at right back. You've got Ayling at centre back next to Coops instead. Do you know what I mean? If Strauch wasn't there, so him playing in his actual position means you've got Dallas and Ayling in their better positions around the rest of the pitch. Makes a hell of a difference.
Oh, I mean, he made a really good point on him there, Lucas, against Liverpool. I mean, it was never a penalty because it come off his knee, but you've always thought he looks a little bit shaky. Especially conceding 4 goals away. I don't know, it was our first game of the season against Liverpool, such a strong outfit. But there's no doubt he's come on wonders. He's come on leaps and bounds.
Yeah, definitely. And like even more to add to that, we only seen him back end of last season. We're now saying he should be starting over our club captain. The majority anyway, or maybe it's in the minority. Just my opinion anyway. I think he should. So it's mad, just the trajectory he's gone on. Moving on now, Mateus Click. Really unusual to see him come on as a sub To be honest, I think we needed it at the time. I thought it was the right change, get Dallas back to left back, etc. But I'm going to go because I'm going to put my thoughts out there because I've seen the people. I don't want you to sway me because I thought he wasn't great. I don't think he did much when he came on. And I went for a 6, but I've seen some of the media, like who know their stuff, say he did well when he came on. And I didn't agree with that. And I didn't want you to come on and me to go, I'll just go with him because I'm obviously wrong. But in my opinion, I don't think he was that good tonight when he came on. I can't remember anything that he did. That's just my own opinion. Does anyone want to?
Yeah, I'd agree with you to a certain extent. But I think although he didn't contribute bucket loads of positive play, he's there for balance. He's there for a pass from Phillips, a pass out of the defence. He just makes our outfit look a lot more solid, and I think that's what he gave. I think he'd have probably been a bit disgruntled he didn't start the game. He's not used to not starting, is he? I think what they said, there's only 2 games under Bielsa he's not started or something like that. So it's not. Yeah. I was surprised to see it, to be honest. I did think he needed a breather, but I actually think today we won't see him not start again. I think he's going to be back in there. Bielsa rates him. What did he say? Ever since he said that he could play in any team in the world, he's been a bit off it, hasn't he? But
sure. You make a good point because I've seen here just Frank Spencer. He said that he doesn't think he's good enough and he needs replacing, which I think is a really poor take. I think he's fantastic when he's on it. He's brilliant, and Bielsa doesn't say he can play in any team if he doesn't think he's on a bit. But
I'd like him to find his shooting boots again, to be honest.
Yeah. It was ever since we created that song, mate. Ever since we created that song, Lou.
He just doesn't seem to look to know how to shoot anymore. It's very annoying.
Yeah. Giancarlo, click.
I mean, as a fantasy football perspective, I was really gutted to see he weren't starting. I think you guarantee he's going to start every season. I mean, I've been playing fantasy football since I was 12 back at high school, and not once I've been able to put a Leeds player until this season. So I've stuck with 3 throughout. Mellier and Bamford, I think they guarantee 3 starters, but even Bamford may be a question. I may have to take him out. Click, I think 6 is actually, to say only played half an hour, I think it is a first score. I think he played quite well. But I think Lou's right. I think he'll come straight back into the team because we miss a bit like Rodrigo. I love the way he can just open the game up with one pass. It just makes it look so simple. There's no doubt, and I've said that's my buzz phrase tonight. No doubt, a bit like Oscarson, to be fair.
Yeah, man, he says it all the time, doesn't
he? He's been well. He's well off form. There's several players that are off form. Well, I mean, Bamford has been out of form in particular as well. So you can't just put it all on Click and say, he definitely needs dropping. It just takes that one spell of good form, a good game, and it could change his running. I think, I saw the comment that because he's on a yellow card off suspension, that they dropped him and then he'd come back in against Leicester. But technically, we've lost him for a game anyway because he's not playing against Newcastle. So it doesn't really make any sense. I'd like to think he would start against Leicester, though.
He will. I'd be surprised to see Alioski start again at left back.
Yeah.
There's no way Bielsa looks at a game and goes, "You're on a yellow. You might get a yellow." So that's not in Bielsa's thinking, man. That's everyone's entitled to their opinion, but that's not what that was. I think I've seen some of the people saying that maybe it was due to the fact that they thought that Newcastle were going to go 2 up top, so they were going to go with the back 3 of Ailing, Cooper, and Loren and switch it around there. Dallas right wing back. You know what I mean? But it might have just been that he needed a rest. But I just find it strange that he did drop him when he's played him for so long. So it maybe could have been the system. And I don't know. But I don't think it's anything to do with the yellow card personally. But Chris, what were your thoughts on when he came on, mate?
Yeah, I thought he was decent. Let's call it. I think the good thing is we click, and I think we saw it when we see it tonight when he's not on the pitch, is he occupies opposition players because he has got that final ball or that vision. And when he wasn't there, it all sits on Rodrigo's shoulders to be that sort of that ball out of the middle of the park. And people saying he's coming to the end of his time and all the rest of it, I think it's so far off the mark. I think his genuine quality is clear. Yeah, he's had a bit of a poor patch for his standards, but for me, he's absolutely nailed on to start the next game against Leicester. And I agree. Alioski will get dropped. Dallas will go back because he doesn't leave Dallas out. Let's be honest.
No,
like I said, I think if he had to put Dallas in net, he would just so he start.
Can we all agree we don't want to see Click take a penalty ever again?
Ever. Ever.
Why? I don't. He's not that bad at a man.
No. Well, I mean,
it's just dreadful.
Yeah.
Thing is, Paddy's normally as bad. Trickles it towards the corner.
Yeah. I don't like it.
Nailed, didn't he?
I want Rafinha on penalties. Get that whipping penalty into the corner.
That's a good shout. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But
on penalties just to see him headbutt someone celebrate.
Brilliant. And lastly, tonight we've got Tyler. We saying we'd go for 6 for Click? Was that what we're going with? Yeah. Tyler Roberts, the forgotten man for me. I thought he was on his way out. I thought he was on his way out to Huddersfield, to Derby, wherever it was, to Bournemouth. And I'd arguably say in the last 2 games that he's come on as sub, he's been really good for me. He's created problems. He's pressed. He's won the ball. He's looked decent on the ball. And I was impressed again tonight. And it just shows you that Bielsa still has face. I think we all thought he was going to be on his way. See you later. But for me, I thought he was really good tonight. He looked busy again. And if anyone's going to be coming in for Bamford, it's going to be Roberts, isn't it? I think. I would say a 7. I thought he was solid tonight. Does anyone want to take up Tyler?
I agree, 7, mate. Do you remember the Hull game in the cup?
Yeah.
And I was watching you watch along and absolutely battering on there because all he did was do step overs and fall over. I remember you agreeing with me, and I was at that point, and at the beginning of this season, I was like, Tyler can go for me. I don't think he's going to make that step up. I thought he was decent tonight, and I agree. I think he's the person pushing Bamford now. Yeah. He looked hungry tonight, which is good to see from Tyler because I think at times he can look like he's just coasting. And he's still only young, isn't he? What is he, 22, 21?
21, I think. 21.
Yeah, he's been around forever, hasn't he?
Yeah, it seems like it, yeah. I think, you're right, man. And maybe getting dropped or not being around or not really thinking that he's got a chance because he's probably entered his head. This is what I'm saying. But maybe that's giving him the boost that he needed because for me, the last 2 games has been really good. What about you?
Was he actually on his way out and he's turned around and gone, I want to fight for my place.
Yeah.
Where I want to be. I want to be playing Premier League football. And if he's done that, fair play to the lad.
I think that's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing him sparking back to life with them maybe considering a championship loan move for him. The last 2 games, I think he's been brilliant when he's come on. Yeah. One thing I will say about Roberts is I don't think he tracks back and like chases balls down as much as Bamford does. Yeah. But I think attacking wise, he just seems to be a little bit more clinical than Bamford at the moment with his passing, a bit more assured. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised I'd be surprised if he started, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him come on and score a few goals in the next few games. He's looking dangerous. He's looking like the player that we thought he might be. But long term, I don't see him when signings come in. I don't see him a part of this squad. Maybe that's harsh. But say we get a striker in the summer, for instance, with people in behind him. Where do you see someone like Roberts fitting in? But today he was a solid 7. He was. Yeah. He did his job.
Well, that's it, Lou. I mean, he's got to, if he wants to be in the team, he's got to, claim his place now. This is the time he's starting to get a few chances. You're right. He doesn't track back as much as Bamford. He hasn't got that same sort of. He doesn't do the same sort of running. I saw someone comment about twinkle toes. He's really skillful, though. He's really skillful.
Yeah.
played a back pass and not a back pass, a back heel. I think Rafinha were running through, and to have the audacity to do that when he's barely getting any game time. You know, the chance where he had, he didn't actually get a touch on it, but he was running through and ended up in Darlow's hands. You know, a decent chance. I like him. I do like Roberts, and I'm glad to see that he's fighting for his place. You know, it's good to see that he hasn't gone to Derby and that he's trying to make a bit of a career at Leeds. You know, well, more of a career, making his stating his name in the Premier League.
So we need to see assists and goals from Roberts, don't we?
Yeah, true.
To see him marking his, stamping his claim in this team properly.
Correct. Yeah, he's giving him that chance. So I mean, people judging him on 15 minutes, you know, where he's come on previously. He's not been given that chance, and now that he's starting to get into the team, hopefully we'll start to show some attacking prowess and score some much needed goals.
Yeah. I thought he was solid tonight, and that I thought overall performance wasn't great, but some decent performances from some. I just want to shout out Lewis here. He keeps putting this comment in, so I'm going to give it. Yeah, I'm going to give him his moment. Cooper and Strout out now. We need 2 press-resistant centre-backs with a better range of passing. Lewis, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I do believe Luke Ayling said that Pascal Strout has the best passing ability of any player in the squad, I believe. That's right, isn't it, Lou, along them lines?
Yeah, he said something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so if Luke Ayling's saying it, we'll be all right with that. I think Pascal's fantastic, me personally. But like I say, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Oh, it's still going. I did wonder why you kept chuckling, Chris, but I was way out amongst the chat. Strouk out, Cooper out, Strouk out, Cooper out.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to see that tonight, you know.
No, yeah. I think sometimes the moonlighting, we've had a few people come in and say Biel's around. I just think you're not really a Leeds fan, surely not. Yeah, but listen, I thought overall, what we giving the performance out of 10?
For me, I'd go with 7. I think we needed to get 3 losses, that monkey off our back, and it didn't matter too much about the performance. We didn't need to go out and play 100-mile-an-hour Bielsa ball. We just had to get 3 points, get that bit of confidence back. And I think, and I've said this about a couple of games this season, I think we've bought ourselves a free hit against Leicester.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd now like to see the confidence back and go out. And if we get pumped 3-1, but we give them a good go, it's Leicester. Do you know what I mean? But let's go out and give them a game like we did Liverpool and City and Arsenal and just go for it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. Yeah, Lou?
Yeah, 7's the magic number tonight, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's a fair reflection. But I think digging out these results when we've not necessarily played well. I mean, 2 shots on target, didn't create loads tonight. I think
as well, like Newcastle had 22 shots.
I mean, the stats were almost like opposites, weren't they, to what we'd expect. So I do think we're showing a bit of maturity. You know, we're picking up 3 points at the end of the day. So I'm pleased with the performance in terms of its grittiness. I don't want to see too many of them. But you know, I think it was a bit much to expect us to batter them again. I don't think it was ever going to play out that way. But they are struggling, and I think that's probably the end of Mr. Bruce.
Yeah, most definitely.
There's talk of old crybaby Frank going there, isn't there?
Well, that would be brilliant. That would be brilliant. I'm not going to lie, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, and then he'd take him down.
Newcastle beat Derby next year.
Yeah, definitely. Giancarlo, performance overall?
I'm going to go for half score, if that's right.
There's no half scores on this channel. You'll have to round it up.
On the positive side, we'll go for 7, then I'll agree. I don't think it will be the end of Bruce, though, to be honest, because they did show a lot about them, you know, especially when Maximum come on. So if we did beat them like 4-0, yeah, there's no doubt. But clearly the players were still they still wanted to play for him. They didn't give up at 1-0. They didn't drop their heads. On our side, considering we've not been on a great form, we're not been on a great run. I'll take it was a scrappy win because they didn't make us play. They broke up the play a lot with a lot of their long balls and a few headers, and we weren't able to play the ball on the pitch the same. But yeah, 3 points is 3 points. It doesn't matter how they come.
Was anyone else thrilled not to see Andy Carroll come on? Because I was.
Yeah. Definitely. Philip Anderson makes a point to say, don't forget, I seen this, don't forget that lads, that Vardy isn't playing, which is huge. However, I spoke to a Leicester fan, they've scored 13 goals in the last thing, and he's not been involved in any of them.
James Maddison is on fire.
Yeah, so Madison, I know Vardy, it's a name on the team sheet, but he's not actually been amongst the goals of late, so maybe he won't be that much of a loss as we envisage. But no, look, it's all about context. I said on my post-match, please check it out. End of day, performance wasn't great. Second half, we weren't great, just like Burnley. But ultimately, all that mattered tonight was 3 points. We'd not won in 3. We hadn't scored in 3. We've won the game. We've scored 2 goals. We've won 8 games, the same as Arsenal, Chelsea, Southampton. We've got 26 points. We're 14 away from relegation, closer to the top 6. What more can you ask from a newly promoted side? Absolutely fantastic.
I think maybe even 3 wins keeps us up, to be fair.
I would agree, mate.
The way the points are going. I don't think 40, I think between 35 and 38 are probably going to be all right, aren't they?
Yeah.
We're going to get more than that anyway.
I think 36 points is the safe zone this season. I think another 10 points, 3 wins and a draw out of our remaining games, no bother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, man. Thank you. Honestly, lads, thank you so much for coming on as well, late hour, and agreeing to do this. It's been class, and we'll have you back again 100%. It's been class and a great chat. So thank you for coming on, lads. And I'm going to do the awkward bit now where we end the stream. Please smash a like on the video. We will be doing a fans post-match reaction video tomorrow night. We're going to start doing that live. We've got an opposition preview Thursday with some Leicester fans, Friday before the whistle blows, Saturday a big match preview prior to the game, and then Sunday, obviously, it's game day. So keep it locked as per All Leeds TV, and I'll see you in a bit, people.